Thank you, Miss Lana Del Rey, for giving this interview to us. We want to first give you our good feelings about what we heard just before, because we had this chance to hear you performing this morning. And the first thing we would like to ask you is how much of your feelings you did put in that performance in your music generally.
Well, like when I first start my shows, like when I first started the show today, what I was mostly feeling was just nervous, because I really wanted to do well in Milan, because I've been waiting to come here. But then, once I get past the first song, I do sort of fall into my own rhythm, and I do start thinking about the way that things work. So, I do put everything into it, just naturally. So, and then, when it comes to my own music, it's 100% autobiographical. Stop looking at it. Go over there.
That's fine.
Go over there, you're making me nervous.
I'm sorry.
Gee.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. But when it comes to my records, like they're 100% autobiographical, and I really, I am writing about the way that things used to be, so.
Yeah, so it's just first thing when obviously listening to your song that you wrote and you're performing, that in this new album we have a lot of different, of course, feelings and situations that you made us for with your music. I mean, we made us feel this. And about this album, what are the things that you care most? I don't want just to ask this song that you prefer, but what are the topics that you loved most? What you wanted most to tell people through this?
Well, like I didn't know that I had a common theme running through the record, but when I listened back to it, I realized I did. I mean, I guess like now that I listen to it, it does feel like two worlds of death and love coming together. I guess the way I would describe it is like when I was young, and I was really aware of my own mortality. Like when I realized that we were all going to die, that kind of overshadowed my existence. But then I also, as I got older, like became a teenager, I had fleeting moments of happiness when I started falling in love and meeting amazing people. And so, it's just really, like, I think the record is a combination of those two feelings and worlds coming together in a gorgeous soundscape that Emil Haney designed. Like, I started working with this amazing producer, Emil, and he's been like a hip-hop producer for the last 10 years, started working with Eminem, and he came into my life and started putting like heavier, fat beats underneath the tracks, and like soundscaping the record, putting things into each song that like brought the songs to life, like in Off to the Races, he put in kids screaming at the swimming pool, and like in This Is What Makes Us Girls, he put in like car alarms going off and crickets chirping, things like that.
I see. And about your music in general, your career, your way, you feel something different from what you hear from many other artists' music. There's something that makes you say, my music is, that's a word that can identify more than, without telling anything bad about other artists, of course.
That's a good question. Well, my music is very real.
That's the definition that you would do to this.
Yeah, only because like the lyrics are autobiographical, and like I helped compose the actual record, so it's very much, it's personal. It's personal.
Thank you.
I listened many times to your album, and my favorite track is Dark Paradise.
Do you like it?
Yes, it's beautiful.
Really?
It's the most beautiful for me.
Do you love it?
Yes.
Thank you.
I think that it should be the next single, maybe.
That's funny because I was just in Germany yesterday, and I signed to Universal Germany first, like a year and a half ago, and they want Dark Paradise to be the single too.
You should listen to them.
I love that song.
It's very emotional.
Yeah, it's amazing because like I was saying, I met Emil Haney first, who started kind of fattening up the mood of the songs with really heavy beats, and then he introduced me to Larry Gold, who's been like a famous string composer in classical music for the past 30 years, and his strings really brought like the song to life. You know, it just made it sound really gorgeous. And
so the chorus.
Yeah,
it's
do you like it?
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite choruses too.
What does inspire you during writing process?
During the writing process, it kind of depends on where I am. Like for this record, I wrote it in 3 different places. I started in London, then went back home to New York, and then traveled to California. But what I used to do was take a lot of walks, like through Manhattan, and just I'd start thinking about the way that things used to be.
You mentioned twice in your songs Coney Island. Is it a special place for you?
When I was like first got to New York when I was 18, I didn't know anybody, so I would just take the train down to the beach, all the way at the tip of Manhattan, of New York City, and I would just walk along the boardwalk for hours, start writing my songs, because I didn't really know anyone yet, so I just sing into my phone and look at the ocean. I couldn't believe that like the ocean was so close to the city, which was so big. I thought it was beautiful, and most of my inspirations for the record have been like different places, beautiful places to me.
Which is the difference between America and maybe UK, Glasgow? Where do you?
Well, the people are different from one place to another. Like, the boys in London are very clever. They're very quick to tell tell a story and tell a joke. And also, it's just a different culture in the UK. You know, people are really aware of what's going on. Like, they watch the news a lot. They know what's happening. And then in America, I feel like people are sort of living their own lives for themselves, like as individuals in their individual families. And I don't know, musical taste is different. Lots of different things.
You said that you take inspiration from different artists, such as Frank Sinatra, Nirvana, Eminem. How did you deal with this different kind of music?
How did I do it?
Yes.
Like, how did I find it?
How do you mix it in your music? Like
My music?
hip-hop,
Okay,
pop,
well, like,
soul?
when I found Eminem for the first time, he really changed my life because I didn't know that music could be intelligent. Like, he was talking about his own life, and, like, he wasn't just rhyming over music just for rhyme's sake. Like, he was really talking about the way that things were. And so that made me think, like, I wouldn't rap, but I could also, you know, like, talk about the way that things actually were instead of just making stupid music, like, and to try and sell it. And also, he's a genius. I mean, he happens to be a genius. So I love him. And then, of course, I love Frank Sinatra just because when I heard his voice for the first time, I couldn't believe it was real. It was just he had like a golden voice, like a golden tone on his voice. So, you know, like, Eminem was the master of lyrics, but Frank Sinatra was like the master of vocals. So I really just like the masters from every different genre. And of course, when I saw Kurt Cobain for the first time, and I felt like I knew what he was singing about. And so,
Would you like to collaborate with Eminem?
I do really love Eminem. Well, usually when people ask me that question, I usually say, no, I'm just doing my own thing. But I have to say, I fucking love Eminem.
Which artists do you want to collaborate with if you could, from the past or the present? Maybe working with Frank Sinatra would be...
I'd like to work with Elvis. I'd like to fucking do things with Elvis. I'd like to make out with Elvis. Let's see. Elvis, I don't know.
Maybe Elvis is your $1 million man?
Maybe.
We noticed that you acted in a somehow theatrical way when you sing. Is it true that you act when you're singing?
I'm not a very good actress, but I don't really consider myself to be acting when I'm singing, but I usually just try and like let the words kind of flow through my fingertips sometimes, so my hands end up looking dramatic. But usually I'm just trying to make sure that my voice is evoking the message that I meant when I was singing it. So it's more about like the vocals, but I don't know, sometimes I get into it physically. I don't know.
Yeah, it's your natural way to express to
It's
sing.
a little bit of my natural way, which is a bit of a strange way. I understand that, but it is natural.
In your song we can hear orchestral influences, organic sound, but also electronic and maybe influences from hip-hop. How does those genres come together?
That's a good question. I mean, like I was saying before, Emil Haney, who is like an amazing hip-hop producer, is really good friends with Larry Gold, who is an amazing string composer. And like when I talk to the guys on the phone, I'd say, you know, if I was talking to them about like maybe the song "This Is What Makes Us Girls," I would say to them, you know, think about the film score for American Beauty by Thomas Newman. That meets Bruce Springsteen in the 80s, meets girls sneaking out in the hot summertime in Miami or something. And what I try and do is like give good direction with pictures, and then I let Emil and Larry join worlds together. Larry with his orchestra from Philadelphia, and Emil with his beats that he programs. So I try and paint pictures for them with words, and then they send things back to me, and it's always amazing.
Because After the Races, for example, has a strong hip-hop influence.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the last album of Kanye West?
Which one is his last album? My Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yes, yes.
I've heard all his singles off of it.
For me, there is they are maybe...
That's funny because Kanye loves that song, Off to the Races.
Yes, because those alarms, or those sounds that that you listen when, and they come from nowhere, they're also in Kanye's album.
Which ones? The sounds?
Yes, yes.
Are they?
The alarm sound is also in Kanye. If you...
You're kidding me.
Yes, yes.
Well, Emil did work with Kanye on My Dark Twisted Fantasy. I don't know how many tracks he worked on, but I mean, I think from what I understand, Kanye also has a love for gorgeous things and gorgeous strings. That's just something we both happen to love, like have a respect for like cinematic, orchestral, you know, uplifting sounds that, you know, where the melody of the strings tells the story, the same story that the words do.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a difficult task to take on.
That's a combination between lyrics and sound.
Yeah, because, you know, sometimes, like, when you watch movies and you just listen to film scores, like, those melodies tell a story, and the strings on my record, I think, tell their own story, too.
I think we just wanted, obviously, last question from you, very simple. It's just to know if you have in the future plans for Italy, for other coming back and meeting you in the TV or in the live shows. And
well, the first thing I'm going to do, what I'd like to do because I have time in March when I'm not doing anything, is I'm just coming back to Italy just to see Italy. Because here I am for one day, and I already told them.
I think March is the best month.
Actually, that's
spring
what
is
someone said.
really good.
I'd like to just come back and see everything because I've really been waiting to come to Italy for my whole life. And then what I'd like to do is hold just 2 shows, like in a church, just in the center, like of Milan, and just then meet everyone afterwards. Because like for my shows in Europe, when I went on my tour in October, I got to meet everyone. You know, like I have friends and fans in Germany and like London that I still talk to all the time. So I kind of like that connection with people from Italy too.
Oh.
Wait, one I can give you my cell phone.
Sure.
Yes, of course. I will.
Go on it.
Yes.
We really thank you for your
Thank
time,
you so much for
and
coming. Thank you for your questions. They're so smart. They're about music. They're so respectful. Like I really appreciate it.
We also appreciate
yeah.
you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, and good luck.